Can you hear the music?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I sure can.
Okay.
Oh, Evie's going to make me cry. I can feel it now.
Oh my God,
yeah,
we're
gonna be crying. Get your tissues.
I know. I brought
Hey,
two
guys.
already, and they're practically used already.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Kara.
Hi, Kara.
Hi.
Eve, I'd like to share my screen at the beginning while we get everybody all signed on.
So let me stop sharing. How do I do that here?
I think I can just take over. Let me try.
Yeah.
Can we, Cass, can we just have big photos instead of a screen thing for a little while? It's just great seeing people's faces.
It is. Let
me figure out how I can stop sharing my screen.
Carolyn.
How's that?
You're not going to see people's faces if we...
You can. They just go into little side boxes.
Okay.
Did that work,
right.
Kara? I think I paused mine. It's still showing?
It is on mine, yeah.
Huh.
Are you guys seeing a picture of Terry?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we want to see a picture of Terry. Damn it. Ugh. Yeah, we do. Oh, yeah. God,
Can you hit stop share? Maybe if you
stop share.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Okay, I'm definitely going to cry.
I like that.
So, and I had a little bit of kind of, a little bit of an agenda for us to talk about kind of how I was thinking this could go. Of course, nothing's set in stone or anything, but just to give us a little bit of a structure.
Oh, Dr. Brawley.
Yeah. But this, I think we all agree we want a little bit of meet and greet here at the beginning. So, let me just...
be catered.
What was that, Stephen?
Will this be catered?
Will this be catered?
Yes.
Yes, there will be virtual.
I'm going to go get my tissues because I already am having issues.
There will be virtual coffee and cookies.
All right. Oh, it arrived.
So just to give the people who are on already an idea, I was thinking we could just kind of talk, and like Kara said, we can maybe go back to full picture and
I love this deck though. You made this awesome deck.
Yeah, I made a few slides. I sure did.
It's beautiful, Cass. It's so good to see all your faces.
I know, it's really yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
Yes. It's kind of incredible.
Good morning.
Am I missing people? I think I'm missing people. Show grid video.
Good morning, Carolyn and Vanessa.
Oh, there's Jen. Hi, Jen.
Morning. Maybe Cassie can take the screen share off for a second, and we can see each other's faces more.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Well, let me run through this real quick, and then I'll take this off, and then we can come back. We're gonna spend the first 15 minutes, guys, just like saying hi to each other. Eve is in a meditation at around 10:15, and then we'll do stories and sharing and pictures. I've got a song by Terry, if we can keep it together and listen to a song that she wrote and sang, and then we'll try to wrap up by around 11:15. But if people want to stay longer and talk, that's perfectly okay. And then we'll probably need to mute everyone as each person talks so everyone can be heard. But for now, let's just dive into saying hi to each other because it's been so long. So I'll stop sharing screen. Let's see. You can just look at each other's pictures and say hi.
Huh. Here.
Hey there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Christy.
Morning.
Oh, my God. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Hey, David.
Hey.
You guys like
Dr. Scott, Dr. Hall.
Well, group
I
share.
know.
Hey, David.
Hey, hey.
Christy.
Oh, hi, Michelle. Oh, my God.
Ah,
Dr. David. Oh, I'm going to cry.
I know.
Dad, I'm going to cry.
Hi,
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
I'm
Laura.
here. Hi. How's everybody doing?
Wow, it kind of stinks, you guys. Like, this is bringing us together. Damn it. It's so great to see everybody. And of course, where's Terry?
Yeah.
Where is she in this circle of friends?
She's here, Tara. She's here.
She is here.
Hard to believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just got off the phone with Larry.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago. And, understandably and obviously, he's distraught. But
Yeah.
this is the only insights he had about what happened, that the doctors think that maybe she had sort of a subclinical pancreatic issue that was kept at bay because she had such great healthy habits. He said that she had walked 5 miles the day before, and in their house there's a ladder to go up to the loft to get to her area, and she was up and down that ladder 5 times that morning. But she had a distended belly, and she thought it was just gas, and went to the bathroom and didn't come out, and he found her unresponsive on the floor. And he said she was basically gone. He looked in her eyes, and he said she was gone at that time, and it was just heroic efforts to try to back. So
Just one.
and the night before, Sunday was her birthday, and Saturday night some friends had an outdoor gathering, and she said she was just lively. You know how she is in parties, and entertaining and singing, and just being her sweet, funny, wonderful self, and that she seemed like the happiest person in the world. And
I saw your keys. Where?
so
On top of the China thing.
that's all I know. But he's the profound loss, the companion, and it's overwhelming for him. And, so my heart breaks for him and for me.
Yeah.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Well, guys, I want to just thank everyone for coming. And boy, it's been a sad week, a very sad week. I feel like I've been like emotionally beat up this week. But thank you guys for all signing on to celebrate and honor Terry. I feel like it's so good for us to be together. I really wanted this week to be with other people who loved her and were feeling the way I was feeling and who knew her.
Yeah.
And it was actually Winston who was like, what are we going to do for Terry? And I don't know if he's going to make it this morning, but Kara and Betsy and I were like, let's see if we can put something together, because, a funeral is not in the immediate future plans. And with COVID, we can't really get together safely anyway. So, so this is this is, I think, good for all of us and a great chance to celebrate this amazing woman. So we were gonna just give ourselves some time until 10:15 to kind of reconnect and say hi to everyone. At 10:15, Eve's gonna lead us in a quiet time to kind of get centered. And just a reminder as we move into like stories and sharing, if you could mute yourself if you're not talking, just so we can kind of hear what people want to say and share. I think we've got a good number of people that came on today. And of course, just please feel invited to share a story or something funny or something sad.
What's our structure? What's our structure, Cass? Like, what are we doing right now?
I'm kind of giving you the layout.
Okay, so now it's layout.
It's
When do we share?
Those are very Kara
Are you
questions.
giving me trouble? Are you giving me trouble already, Kara?
Well, I'm not sure when I can, I'm not sure when I jump in. I need
Coffee time. This is to get your coffee, especially on the West Coast.
Yeah, get your coffee, get your tissues, make sure everything's ready. Say hi. Say hi to everyone that you haven't seen in so many years.
Hi, Monica.
I can't believe oh my gosh, seeing everybody. It's amazing. Oh, man.
It is amazing.
All right, so
we're recording this also so that Larry can have it and other people. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Michael.
That's nice. Hi, Michael.
Check that beard out.
Mountain Man.
That's so great.
Good to see everybody.
Hi, Trevor. Oh my gosh.
I am just amazed, all these faces. Oh, God.
Hey, guys.
Pretty is unbelievable.
It feels like the old days.
It does.
It does.
It does.
I just am having the best memories, but I know it's not time yet. So
you'll have your time.
Always time for the best memory.
can I share that Patrick is he's in Mexico doing his healing work, but he sends love and condolences to the team, and he's holding Terry's soul in his heart and his prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa, for giving us a little rundown on what happened. I hate to get into morbid details, but I'm also very curious about that. It was such a shock to have someone, a peer, this is my first peer to die, so quickly and so unexpectedly. I'm still trying to nail down exactly what happened. Was there any kind of autopsy or anything? Does anybody know of?
I think they thought about it, but I don't think they had done it.
Okay.
I haven't heard.
Yeah, go ahead, Kath.
And Vanessa, chime in if you have anything there, but I have not heard of any autopsy findings.
Okay.
Vanessa, you're muted. Hit the space bar, Vanessa, to unmute.
Yeah, I would say I hadn't heard about an autopsy. I did not ask about it. I'll ask Cliff because he would know if one was done. But what I told you is what the doctors had said to Larry. So, and I don't know if there was done any imaging or anything. I don't have any details. And but if I hear of anything, I will share it with you all, or I'll share it with Cass, and because you'll know how to get in touch with everybody. But yeah, I'm with you in that she's definitely the only peer I have that died unexpectedly. I had a friend that died from ALS, but that was a long, drawn out, miserable, sort of anticipated time, and had time to sort of wrap your head around what was happening, and had time to do things together and all. But this is just a whole nother animal.
And I guess many people heard that she had a birthday on Saturday. She was in great health. Last week, or let me say the week before last, I had a teleconference meeting with her. She was in perfect, great health. Nothing seemed strange or weird. She had no complaints of anything. And then Fernessa, I mean, you guys probably know this, but Fernessa did tell me when she called me that there was renal failure and extremely high pancreatic enzymes. It just seems very mysterious and incredible, the whole thing. Unreal.
So can we tell how many people are all logged on here? Am I seeing the full screen? I've got what, 25 people or 25 images of something. Can you tell more? I don't do a lot of Zoom.
I can. I have 25.
25?
I don't either. I mean, I'm the host. There's probably a way for me to know that, but I don't. Oh yeah, I have 25 participants.
I have 25, yeah.
Okay, great.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, guys. And like what was that?
I just said hi to Kimmy.
Oh, hey. Cliff was a good friend of Terry's and Larry's was gonna join. He hadn't done Zoom before. I don't know if he's gonna join us today, but he did say Larry is kind of an anti-technology guy, so he's not even trying to sign on today, but we're recording this so that they can have access to this. And I figure a lot of people, might want to see this, have a way to celebrate and process this. I just want to remind people too, when we move into sharing, if you'll just identify yourselves and kind of how you knew Terry. A lot of us came from the Metametrics and Genova camps, but I think there are some other people who weren't work colleagues, and just, that's a way to start off when we kind of share.
I just texted Cliff to see if he could jump on.
Okay, great.
Posted.
Are we ready to move into a little meditation? Okay. All right, Eve. I'm going to mute myself. If everyone will mute yourselves, please.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'll try to get through this without crying. People who know me know that I'm pretty good at crying. But I'm Eve, and I have known Terry. I was trying to think about the first time I met her. It's been kind of like my early memories. Starting already? I knew her through Metametrics. My parents, Andy and Carolyn, are here, and she was working there and helping grow the business. And so I knew her as, I think, even before teenage years. I don't know, Mom and Dad, if you remember exactly when she started, but then I went off to college and got some schooling and came back and started working with her as a colleague. So it was really nice to have those different types of relationships with her. and then also as a friend. So sorry. So I was thinking, Cass asked me to bring a meditation or some kind of way to kind of bring us together and let us ground here and have Terry in our thoughts and memories and hearts right now. And so I've been thinking about what to do. And one of my memories I have with Terry is that at Metametrics, Linda, I'm so glad that you're here. You helped institute yoga classes at Metametrics. And so we had a yoga teacher that would come in and we would do yoga either at lunch or right after work. And it was really a special time. And we would go get our, yoga clothes on, change in our offices, and then go out. And I remember one of the shavasanas at yoga, which for who don't know what shavasana is, it's the end of a yoga session where you just lie down and you just absorb all of the wonderful goodness that had happened during the session. And it's just sit in relaxation and gratitude and feeling what you just did well for yourself. And the teacher played this song that really moved me. I'd never heard it before. And so I asked her what it was after the class. And she says it's a Kundalini farewell song. And it's they play it when people pass on. And it's their way to help them move on and help us keep them in our hearts. So I wanted to play that for you. And it's about 4 minutes, so we can just kind of sit and listen to it. And think if Terry was in that class with me, she took the class together and we listened to that song together. And so I thought it was appropriate to play now, but I can, I'll read the words to you first. It's called The Longtime Sun. May the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. And so it's sweet to me. It's and then Satnam is what they'll chant at the end. And Satnam, and there's different translations, but it kind of means truly everlasting. And I thought that's just appropriate for a farewell song because she will be truly everlasting in our hearts. We hold her in our hearts even though she's not here in the physical space. She is in our hearts. And so Satnam. So I hope you guys enjoy this song. And I will get this technology going. I'm going to share my screen. And I'll play it. Can you see the screen? Okay.
May the long-time sun shine upon you. Oh, love surround you, and the pure within guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you. Oh, love surround you, and the pure light guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way
Well, thank you. I love you, Terry.
Thank you, Eve. I just put a picture up here of Terry. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and dive in. I had a couple of things I wanted to share with you guys. So my name's Cass Nelson-Dooley. I worked with Terry starting out with medical education at Metametrics and then Genova. And I had the luck of kind of getting to reconnect with her in the work world in the last 3 months or so, doing, again, educational consults. But she lived a couple of miles from me, so we would sometimes carpool and, you know, help each other out like neighbors. She and Larry. I had a really bad back injury it took me out for a good year at least. And she and Larry would help me. They would help me get to the doctor, help me get to the grocery store. I was remembering that a lot this week. So one of the things, I have some work memories and I have a work memory, and then I have like more like about who she was in memory. But work-wise, in terms of laboratory medicine, We're getting some background noise, guys, so just remember to mute yourself if you're not muted. Thank you. Work-wise, you know, we're in laboratory medicine, and one of the things she said, I quote it all the time when I'm talking to clinicians. We're talking about how to understand kind of the limitations of what lab testing tell us, right? Because it's easy to just feel like all the answers are in lab tests, and of course they aren't. And she had this metaphor where she would say that she said testing really doesn't tell you everything. It's like looking through a dirty or a clouded window, and you can't really see what's on the other side. You can't really see what's on the other side, but it gives you information that you can work with, but you can't see the whole picture. So I've always loved that metaphor. I bring it up all the time because it gets across the value of testing, but also the limitations, and how there's always more to the story than what we're seeing through that window. So that's a quote I've been thinking about a lot from her this week. On the personal note, Terry, to me, I felt had a lot of peace, was at peace in her soul. I just got this feeling from Terry that she seemed satisfied, she seemed actualized, she didn't seem easily ruffled or irritated about things. She always seemed like she could get like a zoom out view of things and not get too worried about the little details. And she had done a lot of inner spiritual work too over the years. She had a guru. And so she was kind of a role model in that way. And when I learned that she had passed so unexpectedly, I thought if there's anybody that I could imagine, it would be Terry that would walk into the light, that would be ready to walk into the light and make that transition. I don't see her as someone who would be hanging on to try to get back onto the earth plane, you know. So just kind of who she was, that was something that struck me. And then one last thing is that she loved the water. She loved the water, she loved the animals and the ocean and boating. And when I spoke with her this summer, she had just come back from a boating trip in Florida with friends, and she'd had a wonderful time, and she was just, you know, totally just happy and all lit up about it. And I thought, boy, she knows how to have a good time. COVID is not stopping her. So, she was continuing to have a great life and live life to its fullest. And I was impressed. And that's all I have to say. So I'm going to mute myself. And if anyone else would like to share, go ahead.
I'll jump in. My name's Vanessa Hall, and I had lots of different kinds of connections with Terry. I met her, I guess, in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, and she was good friends with one of my neighbors. And Cliff would have the parties at the clubhouse, and people would bring their instruments and they would play and sing, and and I really got acquainted with her and Larry at the time. I had just started playing the bass, and they welcomed me in as this beginner person to play with them. And Terry came up to me one day and asked me to be in their band, which was mind-blowing for me. I'd never been in a band other than orchestra, junior high school. But that's when I really got to know her, because we practiced every week. for 2 or 3 hours, and then just became really good friends through music. And then somehow she invited me to do some work with Metametrics, and so it was kind of I don't even know what the role exactly was, but I got to come to meetings and experience all that and get to know some of you guys. And so we connected over health and wellness, and she taught me so much about the different tests and how to apply them. And, was really a foundational person in my development as a healthcare provider, because I'm, an allopathic doc, an internist, but really learned so much from her about how to assess people and really dig beneath the surface, and we connected on a sort of metaphysical level as well. And I just had the good fortune of her being one of my closest friends. And I'll leave you on one story. We went to music camp two or three summers ago and spent a week at Victor Wooten's camp. And I know that it had a profound impact on her with regard to tapping into the music and playing the piano and really, connecting even more. And we had such a great time, and I will certainly cherish that memory, but all the other memories, vacations and hanging out with her. And we need to add cat lover to that, and travel enthusiast, and just a wonderful person. And there is a hole in my heart, and it's going to be a while before it's remotely okay. So.
I'll go. My name is Andrea Harris, and I am part of the original Metametrics family. And I remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Terry had left for a while. And I remember that we were sitting, everybody at Metametrics was sitting together, and Dr. Brawley introduced her and reintroduced her back to everyone. And sometimes in my life, I look at someone and I meet someone and I can remember the very second I laid eyes on them. And Terry was one of those people. And I don't know if it's because of her passion or her smile, but I know that she always had a light that emanated from her. And I remember that moment. And I'll tell you a funny story, because you were a group that will not be disgusted by it. She also helped me with my health. And I had IBS. And one day at Metametrics, I walked down to her office, and we were friends. And I said to her, look, I have the following problems. I don't know what to do. Should I order the test? And she said, you know what, do me a favor. I want you to start taking psyllium fiber first. And I had suffered with this for 42 years. And I started taking psyllium fiber, and within a week, my problem was gone. And then the last memory, I have a lot of memories with her, but she and I used to go in her office, and we would talk, and we were both empaths, and we would talk about what it was like to be an empath and carry that burden and that gift at the same time. But the other thing I remember is when I had cancer, and I would go into the break room and I would meet her every single time, she would put her arms around me. She was just a kind and loving person. She changed who I was. She changed my health, and she made the world a better place.
Hi, this is Christy Edgeston, and I worked with her at Metametrics as well. And I feel like I met her the same time that maybe Andrea met her. But I just remember when she came back, it was, oh, Terry's gonna be here. And it was, you know, everybody, I guess the former Metametrics employees knew her already. But I just remember Terry being, you know, I was trying to think of some stories with her and how to describe her, but I just remember her being just a really kind person. She was always the same, you know, in my opinion, she treated everybody the same. There was a confidence about Terry, and I think some of that is a little bit of how Cass described her. She had an aura around her, and that's been said as everything that I've heard about her, that others have said about her so far, it just all really fits for Terry. She just always, to me, when she would go through the office, she just felt like a breeze walking through the office. She had a certain fragrance that she wore, and you knew she was coming. And it's something that I will remember about her. I think it may have been frankincense and myrrh that she was wearing, maybe. And I burn that sometimes. So now I feel like anytime I burn that, it'll be like Terry being in my presence. And to some degree, kind of her guiding me and reminding me to just kind of, I felt like, as Cass said, she lived a life kind of of ease, and she knew who she was. And even though she had her own guru, just even looking at this picture of her, it feels like she is a guru, or maybe to some degree has served as a guru for all of us that are on this call. And I think it really speaks to who she is, that I just feel like only Terry could get all of Metametrics on this call, Metametrics and Genova on this call, because I've worked with people where, you know, I don't know that they would have gotten a group of people that know each other and know her so well together. So, you know, when the sun is shining and the beams are coming down, I always think of Terry. She was just that light, that breath of fresh air that everyone needed in the moment. Or maybe you didn't even know you needed, but it was there. And the story that I have of her, I remember when I left Metametrics, it was, you know, maybe a week or two after, I got a call or email from, I think, Kathy Morris. And she's like, hey, we want to take you to lunch. And I just remember Kathy and Cass and Terry just making me feel like, you know, my presence was actually missed when I left. And it was Terry. I just remember her hugging me, and, you know, she gave me a gift, and I'll just always treasure that gift that I got from her and the time that I had with her. I'm grateful for that.
Well, I can jump in here. Andy and I probably have known Terry longer than most people on this call. Probably since she joined Metametrics in the late 1980s, I would guess. And that's when we were at our first office that we had, our first lab that we had all to ourselves, that we weren't sharing with another clinic or something. And I remember so much the very day she first walked in the door. She was young, she was bright, she was enthusiastic, and she had in her hand a Metametrics test report. I think it was amino acids. And she was just so excited. She said that she was working as a consultant for some doctor, and her patient brought in this test result and wanted her to interpret it. And she had never seen anything like it before. And she was so excited. She realized, she looked down, she saw the lab was in the same town, or was in the Atlanta area. So she jumped in and got in her car and drove out here and just walked in and just wanted to know everything that we were doing. Was so enthusiastic. And I would say she probably was one of the first 10 employees of Metametrics. That's how far back she goes. Richard Lord was there. I think she was hired around the same time as Sue Kelly and Chris Nielsen. And that was, I don't know how many of you know Dinah Morlag, you probably don't, but Terry was one of the very first people at Metametrics. And she was really our first clinical person. Richard did that too, but he was setting up the lab mostly, or working in the lab at the time. And she started, we hired, and we were so we just all bonded with Terry so much. Her exuberance, her personality was just exactly what we needed at the time. And she was with us through thick and thin. From then on, a couple of times she would go off and do her own thing and come back. But we always welcomed her back with open arms. And we always were so delighted that when she wanted to go try something on her own, and she stretched her boundaries and went off. So she was one of the family, really. We wanted the best for her always. And it just, her sudden departure just brings to the mind how fragile life is, and how any moment any of us could be gone. And it's just so, to be able to appreciate who people are and the unique light that they bring to this world. It's just so magnificent. She's a one of a kind. She was one of a kind. She would go off she was one of the main people who would go off for many years to represent us at conferences. And we always knew she would do a great job. We always knew people would love her. And she always represented, she had the best interest of the company at heart. And we cherish her for everything she is. And I think if I talk anymore, I'm going to start crying. But I think I'll leave it there. We love you, Terry.
Thank you, Carolyn. Let me go next, because that kind of ties in. You brought up things I had totally forgotten too. I didn't realize. I was trying to remember how I hired her in the first place too. We, as with so many people who we end up hiring that become wonderful associates and people we love, they just kind of dropped into our lives. And Terry was one of those. I was trying to think, now, where did we put an ad in the paper? Why did I do this? But yeah, you're right, Carolyn. She came in with that report. And it was like, oh, well, yeah, actually, we're growing. I could need some more help. I'm tired of talking to these doctors all the time. I've got other stuff to do. And it'd be nice to have someone else I could train to talk to these doctors and explain what this stuff means. And I was trying, I think we hired Terry before Richard. I think, I could be wrong. I can't remember. It's so long ago. And the brain cells don't work that much anymore. But anyway, she came on. I remember talking to Carolyn, and it was always a challenge to hire people because we didn't really have much money, and who would go afford to do this? So I said, oh no, she'd be really good. So we ended up hiring her, and she was wonderful. I remember that little office. It was a tiny little place, and there was a back garage door loading dock area that was kind of separated from the office area. And I looked at it and I said, well, we could put sheetrock over that garage door and make this into another office. And that's what we did. And we put Terry in that little office that used to be a garage loading dock thing. And she just was wonderful. I remember going to these trade shows and conferences where you spend weekends with people and you really get to know them a lot. And Terry and I did that a lot. And she was just a wonderful person in all aspects. And she did leave. Of all the things she ended up telling me, for some reason, something sticks into my brain that I don't know if it means anything, but I was always I thought it was remarkable. She told me this experience she had when she was in the Caribbean on a boat sailing around, just a little sailboat that she loved. And she was jumping off the sail yard and jumping into the water and swimming around. And one time she did that and she got attacked by a Portuguese man of war, and it really caused a lot of, pain up and down her leg. And she said, what I did, Andy, was I ended up drinking vitamin C, powdered water, and just drank tons and tons of vitamin C, and the pain went away. And I go, oh, that's really interesting. And for some reason, that's how I remember Terry. That little memory of her telling me that. I don't know how many other people in the world she's told that story to, but that really sticks into my brain. She was always very creative. She always really into nutrition and what it could do for people and herself and everything. And and that's one of the reasons I was so stunned. Of all people, just died. Terry, wow, that was something. But anyway, I know there are a lot of people want to say all kinds of stuff about her, but she was a very special person at Metametrics, one of the very originals. And we loved her so much over those years, and we feel very blessed to have had that experience with her. So thank you, Terry. Peace be with you.
Well, if we want to stay in some chronological order.
Go, Richard.
Okay. As I remember it, Andy, I was there for a few months when she came aboard. I remember that it was kind of a sequence there of me bailing you out and she bailed me out, in a sense. Wow, there's a lot woven in here. Cass, I appreciate this. I'm glad you did this. I took the whole things in, and when things like this bear our soul, it has to come on out. I love so much about so many of you. But Terry came in, and she was like you described already, Carolyn and Andy. She just plopped in there, just like it was, we've been waiting on her. But in the sense I was trying to say, in those months, as you know, in those early years, I was in the lab. I was at the bench bringing up this profile and that profile and this profile. And the first thing I did was elements. And we got this shell grading emission spectrometer. Remember that, Andy? I won't go into that technology or any other technology today, I promise you. But so anyway, we brought that test up. We were measuring elements, toxic and nutrient elements in urine, blood, hair, so forth. And we brought, because I had done that all before multiple times, that came up in just a matter of a few months. And so we were about ready to move on to, I think the next thing we did was with fatty acids, Andy, and we got that GCMS. But that's already, though, we were rolling out those minerals or element tests, as I like to call them in the day, and doctors were calling in, and like you were overloaded already trying to build this company and run the thing. And then, so I would grab the phone in the lab. And every time I grabbed the phone, I would take time away from developing more tests. And so that was my prospect, my aspect, my outlook on it, actually, when Terry came on board. She just fit right in because I was able to do more. Like when I came on, you were able to do more. So just, that's the way. And you folks, you and Carolyn organically just did that kind of stuff by I don't know what you call it, intuition or whatever. So we both became long timers with you. But I just chatted with Cass a little yesterday when she first called me about Terry's absences. It was just like almost like a continuum with me, because I didn't work all that much intimately day by day with her. It's just every time I encountered her, it was a good thing. But she did have these comings and goings. And but when she was there early on, at some point, I remember talking to her about her career, and being really glad to learn why she was so well sounded in science. Now I know she was well sounded in her soul, like has been explained, but in science, She was at the University of Texas at Houston, the MD Anderson Medical Center, when I was at the University of Texas in Austin in the Clayton Foundation Biochemical Institute learning biochemistry, and she was down there studying coenzyme Q10, which of course was very much an emerging field. And she told me about that and how excited she got about science just by being involved in that. And that excitement, kind of like with me, you know, I had this passion about this stuff. I still do it to this day, right? I can't stop. And it came through. I want to try to describe something. And every time I do it, this passion comes up and I just go weepy on you. But I've told many of you have heard this. I still experience it and I still see it. I still see it in others. That is, like she said, this matter of peering through a dark glass, a dark glass dimly is the way the Bible says it, right? It's so true. But there we were trying to develop a business to do that, to teach doctors how to do that. Okay. And so we were inherently on the cutting edge of medical science all the time, right? And that's what I think Andy and Carolyn's ability to pull in people that had the passion to do that kind of thing was a key. But anyway, here's the little story I give. It's like, think about the Titanic movie, okay? And the scene way out on the bow. They were the two of them standing out on the bow. And if you were out there, what would you see? Well, you'd look out ahead, you'd just see ocean. And you'd feel like you're flying, right? And you almost feel like you're pushing the boat. Well, I think we were. Then, though, you look down and you look back, and what do you see? The bow wave, right? And Fenestra, you nailed it. You talked about how Terry brought you in to understanding the stuff that she was doing at Metametrics. And she had that amino acid report in her hand when she came in the door. And so she had a marvelous way of teaching doctors. And that's what creates the bow wave, because I would say, hey, guys, when we'd have our grand rounds, you're doing that. Right? So every doctor you teach and they get excited, she gets excited, right? How many patients did they treat? And how many people did they tell? And so it goes out and becomes this bow wave. And you know what it is now, folks. I'm tempted, I won't go into it, but just to tell you, because I am still publishing and working, teaching in this area. And I'm seeing amazing things developing at major universities that, let me just say, want to teach the book, which is now the new one that I got cranked out because they wouldn't publish the old one, right? You see what I'm saying? These are big universities doing long-term planning for teaching this stuff. I mean, that's what we are dreamed about. And Terry was a part of that, making that real. And I'll give you a little anecdote that just, it surprised me. And it's an example of my clumsiness in certain personal relationships and interactions. I might as well tell you about it because it involved Terry. And so every once in a while when we had our group together, I was trying to monitor how's everybody doing. And one of the detailed ways to do it is like these movies, TV shows, the CEO goes into the field. I'd like to just go in and kind of sit next to you, or watch you. So one day I was walking down the hallway over towards her office there in that location, and I heard her on the phone. So I thought, so I kind of looked around the door and she was just going at it, And so I just kind of slipped into the room. Her desk was facing outward. And so I just kind of gently, quietly walked around and said, look at her screen and see what she's talking. And I got around, I was amazed. She was spot on with all of her comments. And so I had this pride well up in me that she's one of ours, right? And I wanted to give her a blessing. Now, I'm not good at giving a blessing. I've learned, and maybe I can bless people various ways that I don't even know about, but other than that, so when I left, I probably inappropriately, but as I passed her, I took my right hand and I just put it on her head, just barely on her top of her head. and she shot up, boom, out there, like boom. It's like I had drawn her out of the earth, by her gravity went away. And I just said, oh, went on, got on out of the office. But apparently it had an impact on her. And so I don't know whether it was any kind of a blessing or not. But anyway, that was my last little interaction with her, where it was quite personal and done in a way that it shocked her, which I didn't mean to shock her. I just wanted to give her a big understanding. I like what you're doing, right? Anyway, thank you, Terry.
I guess if we're going to go chronologically, I think maybe I'm next. I'm not really sure, but I'll jump in just because we're in metametrics now, and I was just just kind of one of the chosen ones to be a part of that team. I think one of the things that I'm reflecting on is I guess I have a lot of thoughts, and I know there's a lot of people, and so I'm not going to go for too long, but when I was in school, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was thinking about going on for a PhD. I was starting to just feel more drawn to diving into science, and anyway, things unfolded, and metametrics had this residency, and actually before I even knew about it, and the reason there's a point to this, but my sister's intuitive, and she had this vision that she asked to share with me, and it was about my future, and I was in Atlanta, and she described the Norcross lab. It was an extraordinary vision as she laid it out. It was too good to be true. And I just didn't believe her. I'm like, God, that's amazing. I couldn't, why would I be in Atlanta? I'm a Northeast girl and I'm in the Northwest now. It was just too out there. And then, lo and behold, this metametrics offering comes up in our that I could apply for, a postdoc that I could apply for, and I immediately knew that was it, and I didn't even connect those dots that my sister had said that, because it was some months earlier, and it was the first and I think last time it showed up there. Maybe it did one more time, but it was when I actually was in Norcross and interviewing with you guys, maybe talking to Richard about homocysteine, and so terrified but so excited that I began to I realized that it was exactly what my sister had laid out. Now, I dove headlong into science, but of course I have this I have this background where there's a fluidity that's allowed, and that's, as I'm listening to people share and thinking about Terry and looking at her ridiculously beautiful self, her spirit, it's like the lab, as evidence informed as we were, as attached as I was to the mechanisms, and looking at the molecular structure and teasing it apart with Richard all the time, infused in that was this. And I mean, it still is, because it informs who I am today as much as it did, but was this knowledge, like Richard would say, embrace the uncertainty, that there was something more. And Terry brought that to her work. I mean, that's why she knew that she needed to take massive doses of vitamin C, or that Andrea needed to do psyllium for a while. That would have not been my recommendation. I would have been like, okay, you need to do these labs, and now we're going to do this, and and you're going to be on an elimination, and it would be a very different approach. So, thank God you went to Terry. But I mean, when Terry would offer that, I don't know. It's hard to. It was. God, and just remembering Richard, her background, MD Anderson and studying CoQ10. I mean, God, it was just so rigorously scientific and amazing. And then, but she was infused with this other, our team was golden, and our team was just sacred and beautiful, and it was greater than the sum. And I just hope that I just want to, I don't know. I just took away so much from that experience in my soul, and Terry was and is such a big part of that. Terry reached out to me just a few days before she died, and we didn't get to connect, and I feel really sad about that. Like, I do feel sadness around just not being able to kind of throw myself into a call with her and picking up where we left off, exactly like she did with all of us all of the time. Like, there was never space between us. So anyway, I'm just grateful to be sharing these memories with you, and, you know, a big virtual embrace to you all.
I'd like to say a few words now. My name is David Scott, and first I'd like to thank Andy and Carolyn for giving me the opportunity to meet such a great spirit as Terry. As most of you guys remember, I was the runabout, the loose cannon, the free-for-all, and every damn morning, I get in early, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and early in the morning, and Terry would be there. Hey, big guy, let me share this thought with you. What do you want, Terry? Leave me alone. I ran off a couple of times. Don't want to talk, you know. I want to get ready for my next intellectual spar with Richard or whomever I was dealing with at that moment. Just let me be, you know. But she'd never stopped coming. Then came Cass. So they had this plan. I don't know if Richard had this in there, but that whole group, Betsy, Terry, Cass, they great women. I even remember when you came there, Kara. Just great people. Terry would always say to me, and I remember this, so it's befitting now that we guys said it was 25, 26 people on this line right now. She said, big guy, you got to learn to speak fluently, 25, 26 different languages. This is when you'll learn to be, you know, more at peace with yourself. You'll learn to get along with people better. You know, she would take me to lunch. I don't want to go to lunch, Terry. I want to go do my lab. And Andy, you probably remember I got a deadline of Friday that I would never meet. And she said, big guy, quit telling those folks Friday. Just tell them it's finished when it's finished. But more importantly, the work you're doing is going to take us to another level. But you've got to be able to speak other languages. Other people's intuition could make, you know, products such as GI effects or allergics and these other things. Richard, once I learned to speak those other languages, Richard, your intuitiveness became so profound to development and my development as a scientist, and I appreciate you for that. Terry just sent me a text probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. She said, remember, big guy, love and light towards you. That's still the key. And she is, you know, when you think of succumbing, moving on to the next, you know, universe, life or whatever, when you transition, I thought my Terry would be here forever. And what's really keen, and she has made all of us feel like we were special to her. I'm sitting there listening to all these beautiful, you know, contributions to her life and storytelling. And I'm like, wait a minute, that was my Terry. But it seemed like she was Kara's Terry. She was Cass Terry, you know, and how she has created these connections that Andy, you and Carolyn created, you know, Cass and I definitely keep up all the time. Linda and many others. Andy, when I want to get chewed out, I call you periodically. But she's brought the Metametrics team together. And I'm just so honored through Terry and you guys to be a part of this. I appreciate and love all you guys. And Terry taught me how to love. And I appreciate it about her, to love life and to love. You can see me now, I'm in the lab now. You know, I can't get away from it, Richard. Can't get away from it. And she would still appear out and give me some feedback on how I should do things. And I appreciate Terry for doing that for me, and long live her, you know. Peace be with her and all of you guys.
I'd like to say, when I first started with mathematics, I was a lab doc. I didn't know the nutrition. I didn't know any of the other stuff. And Terry was one of the few employees that was there, Richard and Andy. And so Terry would help teach me about the nutrition. Andy would teach me about the supplements. And eventually, you know, I became a part of the family, like everyone else, knowing the nutrition, knowing the supplements. And I remember this is a funny story, because Terry talked to so many doctors, and they all loved her, and they all wanted to talk to Terry. So David Rosensweet came and visited the lab once, and he couldn't believe how big it was. He thought the lab was Andy, me, and Terry, because that was his interaction for 15 years. It was just us three. So he had no idea how big the lab was. And that's, when you talk to Terry, you wanted to keep talking. And I remember once she came in and she asked me a nutritional question. And that made me so proud after all the time, you know, after all she taught me. She probably just wanted to make me feel good. Anyway, so she would do that. So anyways, I'm going to miss you, Terry. And it's nice that all of us were able to get together. Thank you.
Can I say a word? From the Genova side of the world, I'm Steve Goldman. I first want to thank Kara, because I was just wondering how long it would take before someone brought up homocysteine in this group. So thank you for that. And, you know, the thing about a special person and a special life is that in a gathering like this, everybody here thinks, yeah, you guys had a great relationship with her, but I had this amazing relationship. Everybody feels that they had that special tie-in with her, that special relationship, and we're all right. And that is a well-lived life. That is a special spirit. That's a wonderful person. My relationship when Genova and Metametrics came together, and obviously you guys were such a close family. Patrick Hanaway had us all at his place for a gathering. It was almost like a wedding, you know, both sides of the family coming together. And I heard that Terry played guitar and sang. So I said, you know, I got a lot of guitars. I'll bring a guitar. And she's like, oh, okay. And we sat around this fire pit and started playing. And I said, play some of your originals. And she played, and I'd start playing lead. And, you know, it's like a conversation for those of you who play music with other people. And there's some people, no matter how adept they are, how practiced they are, some people are just open to that conversation. And as a musician, you can always feel that. You always want to play with someone like that. And I remember when I started playing with her, and all of a sudden this grin across her face, and I was like, yeah, we're having that. We're having that conversation. And we often, you know, when we would write one another email and keep up, it was always very much about the music that we would talk about. That photograph you have of her standing in front of that bookcase, I just kept thinking, is there anybody here who doesn't have exactly that bookcase somewhere in their home or in their office? I mean, we all have that bookcase somewhere. So I will miss Terry. I miss her already. I know we all do, but look at the love. I mean, what an incredible group of people. And thanks so much for having me here. I feel really blessed to be here with you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Maddox. I'm going after G. I knew Terry from Genova, and it's over these last several days. I've been lucky enough to reconnect with her over the last few months after leaving Genova, and I'm very thankful for those conversations that I had gotten to have with her in these last few months, and the videos of the silly pet memes and heartwarming stories that fill our text messages back and forth to each other and our Facebook Messenger messages back and forth to each other over these last few months. And over these last few days, I keep getting these little flashes of pictures and flashes of interactions with her. But the one that is really cemented and really like in my brain will always be Terry, is that exact moment that you just described, G. As an outsider, I don't play music, and I was watching everybody in Patrick and Lisa's gazebo in the fire pit, and the two of you with guitars, and everybody starting to gather around. And it was the first time that the two groups had been together in this social setting, and just watching her and getting to see this person who I'd never met but I'd heard a lot about, and in a completely different way. Like, Terry's amazing, she's so smart, doctors love her, everybody requests her, and what I got to see was this beautiful interaction and how she lit up around the fire pit, connecting with another person who had the music in them the way that she did. And to me, there are tons of these little interactions with her and ton of these great conversations we've had in the last few months, but that is the picture in my head that I think of when I think of Terry, is that smile and that ease and her just in her element around that fire pit, playing guitar and singing, surrounded by people who love her and care about her. And that's what I will carry with me from her.
Well, I'm just going to say that I had the same feeling about Terry. I've worked with her for 15 plus years, and it was like, oh, Terry's light is on was always so great. Oh, Terry's light's on when you get there in the morning. But when I think about Terry, besides the science, the thing that I think of is her crazy stories and all the things she did with all her traveling. But the first one I thought of was, it was a crazy story. And I think it was in Texas, and it had tequila. And it ended with her waking up with her pillow and her blanket from her bed inside her car down the street. And I mean, she just always had fun things going on too. And it's going to be weird. I think that I'm still in the, I don't want to believe it phase. I like just thinking she's sitting up in her renovated bedroom office up in Clayton. So, she was just always great to have around and always so reassuring. You felt unstabilized and you could go talk to her and it felt like your hand was held. So, that's all. I'll be short.
I agree, Betsy. I think that this is, it's been so unreal thinking about it this week that she's gone. And, on one note, it's beautiful to see all of your faces and kind of reconnect today. And, just thinking about how happy she would be if she'd have a big grin on her face right now with all of us. But, she just always knew how to put things in perspective, and just the happy calm around Terry. Eve, when you started us off, that was my greatest memory that I kept coming back to the past few days too, was our yoga classes. And Linda, you and Terry, I remember the two of you would stop by my office. We had, yoga once a week, and there'd be days I'd get so buried down in work and just feel like the stress and it's too much on your plate. And I just remember she would stop by on the way down to the yoga room, and she'd be like, "Why aren't you dressed? Why aren't you coming?" She's like, "Put it away. It'll be there in an hour." And, you're going to feel better afterwards, and just always had that ability to kind of really reset you. And, like all of you have said in these stories, you know, she worked hard and she played hard, and she knew how to live life. And, you know, so much appreciation for that, so much gratitude for that. And I hear it in all of these stories and so many of these memories that you all have brought up. Just is really good to see, and, you know, take that with us. She'd want us to. Thank you.
Hi, this is Linda, and I'm just in awe and so sad. But I just want to say that I had the pleasure of being in an office next door to Terry. And when I say she was the most welcoming person there, she was. And I so appreciate it because unlike most of the people that work there, I was a non-science person. And sometimes it just felt very overwhelming with all of these educated people around talking all of this science. But I love the nutritional aspect, and Terry was very good at communicating and talking about it in that vein. But in terms of just making me feel welcome, she was just the right person to have an office next to. And we connected about the water and the beach. I love the beach, and she would like tell me where to go, and I would take her suggestions and would go and come back and be able to tell stories. So I will surely miss her, and I'm just honored to have had the opportunity to become a part of the Metametrics family and to meet Terry. And I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss her deeply. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, my name is Lenore Powell, and have a little guest here. But I've been working with Terry for the past 6 or so years at Genova. And Terry has been very instrumental in the way that I educate others. I basically learned how to teach and educate clinicians and break down complex concepts, and just so much about nutrition I really learned from Terry. And I really appreciate her patience with me, as many questions as I posed to her over the years. And Terry was also very intelligent about environmental medicine, and was just always telling me about where you can find resources. And she was just a wealth of information. I had the pleasure again of working with her for the past 7 or 6 or so years, and my office was right across her office. And when she started to transition up into the mountains, I would see her every Thursday, and I would say, I need my Thursday Terry hug. And, you know, the way that Terry hugged you was like none other. Even though she was a thin lady, it felt like when you hugged her, you just sank into her bosom, into her love, into everything that Terry embodied. And that is the one thing that I will definitely miss about Terry. I guess for me, the part that I feel really bad about is I've never verbally expressed this to Terry, and how instrumental she's been for my development as a professional. And so for me, what this recent loss has taught me is that you need to make sure while people are on this side of the land of the living, that you have to express what impact they've had on you and make sure you maintain those connections. She'll be greatly missed. She'll be greatly missed. And her legacy, her love will live on. And it's crazy because now, after Terry separated from Genova, a lot of people who love to talk to Terry now they want to talk to me and they're like, "You're our new bestie, Terry." And I'm like, no, because I just recognize how intelligent and how much wisdom Terry had. I would never, ever try to put my feet in her shoes. But thank you so much for organizing something so beautiful. I know it's been very tough for a lot of us, and I think I'm like everybody else. I'm living right now in a state of shock, disbelief, and I feel a little numb. But time healing wounds, I don't think that's an accurate phrase. I think as time passes on, we'll just learn how to cope. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kemi Babatunde, and I didn't have my relationship with Terry was non-science relation, to be quite honest with you. It's more like when I walk over to the other side of the building, the Metametrics building, I just pop into her office and I say hi, and she always has this big smile on her face, and she just makes you feel special. And even during that time of of making changes with Metametrics and we weren't really sure, she just tried to calm me down and remind me to look for the best in what could come. And then we reconnected on Facebook. And I remember going for a protest in Suwannee where I live, and I posted pictures online in reference to the Black Lives Matters or social injustice going on. And I commented, and she made a comment, and she goes, "You think it's going to change this time around?" And I said, "Well, I think so. Even if it doesn't change a lot, it could be a little." And when I saw the little slide that she was an activist, that kind of showed me why she asked me that question. And then her Facebook post every day just made you smile. She was always looking for ways to brighten the world. To me, at least, I looked forward to it. It was always different. And so when I saw the post that she passed away, I couldn't believe it. It was like you take things for granted that someone is always going to be there. And I think the next time when I went onto Facebook and realized I wasn't going to be seeing any more of her posts because she wasn't showing up in my feed anymore, that was a little bit hard. Like I said, I didn't really have that much interaction, but even on Facebook, it just felt like I was back in Metametrics with her, seeing her every day, because she was still putting a smile on my face one way or the other. So I'm definitely going to miss her. She was and is a very sweet lady. That light about her it just brightens up my day, and I'm sure it brightened up everybody's day. So thanks for putting this together. And like everyone said, it's amazing to see everybody. So she's the only one that can actually pull it off, and she did. So thank you.
Hi. It's frozen.
Is there someone ready to check
Yeah,
in? Oh,
Cass, this is Deborah.
hi, Deborah. Thank you.
Gosh, I'm going to try to say a few things if I can keep it together. I had just celebrated my Scorpio birthday yesterday, And got this message from Cass, and Terry and I were connected pretty immediately when I started with Metametrics. As all of you have said, she just resonated, her little spirit. And so we were just like little Scorpio sisters. Her birthday was like a week before mine. And it's particularly difficult because you were talking, I think it was Cass or somebody was talking about her trip to Sarasota to go sailing, and I was supposed to go with her. And we had a misunderstanding. And unfortunately, over the last couple of months, we didn't get a chance to connect. So I think the lesson I got out of this is forgiveness. That sometimes, you know, we don't get the message the way that we think we're going to get it. And I just know that she meant the world to me as a friend and as a coworker. Gosh, I'm sorry. It's so hard. She was so happy to have built her loft up there in Clayton, and she kept inviting me to come, and you know, we just decided we had to wait because of COVID. And but Terry, somebody else was talking about her music, and I think deep down that was her first passion, beyond her amazing mind for science and nutrition. I think that her spirit and her soul was there, and her love for music. And you know, I remember all the great parties around the fire pit, as some of you spoke about. Her love for animals, and I babysat for her little Natasha. But I'm just in shock. So I just haven't had much time to process it. But anyway, she was a love. She was just a pure love, and she will be missed. And she was such a great partner when I worked at Metametrics. We just really made a great team to reach out and do so many programs together. And I'm sure many of you, as I see so many people that I haven't seen in a long time, it's pretty amazing that you put this together, that we can connect on that level for Terry. But anyway, I'll say goodbye for now, but blessings to you, Terry. We love you.
Oh.
Well, I would just like to say, this is Monica. I joined a great family in 2012, Metametrics, and I was able to meet such a beautiful soul, Terry Pollock. She had this contagious smile. I didn't think there was anybody that could smile more than me, but she had this wonderful smile, and she did give the best hugs ever. And she just felt like, it felt like she just was holding on to you and didn't want to let go. I will miss her.
I guess I'll speak. This is Trevor Buford, and I'm not much of a talker or speaker. I joined Genova or Metametrics back in 2009, and I hadn't really spoken to Terry since I left in about 2014. But over the summer, when a lot of distressing events happened in the country, I would post things, and she might comment on them, or she might agree with me, or try to give feedback that shows maybe a more positive spin on a situation. You know, like when I was just like really distraught about events, she would post something or say something that would turn or spin it around in a more positive light or potential positive future or whatever like that. And that kind of centered me. And so, I mean, so that's what I can remember most recently about her is, her showing concern about, I guess, my emotional pain of events that were going on throughout the country. So that's what I remember, her being very caring about and empathetic about other people's pain. So that's what I can remember about her.
Hey, this is Andrew. I'll say a word about Terry. I'm not very good at this either, but I met Terry at Metametrics in 1999. She was one of the first people I met with, of course, the Brawleys and Dr. Lord. And she was a very comforting and kind person to me at the time, which was very big. I think my favorite thing about Terry was she had sort of a cadence to the way she spoke, and it was just very calming and very nice to be around. And she's one of those people that you meet that we need like a billion more. I think the world would be a much better place. And she's going to have a lasting impact on all of us. I think, you carry through that kindness and things you do. And I think that's going to kind of help me get through this and remember her. She was just a cool person. And I mean, the way she dressed, the way she talked, the way she thought about things, I always admired that. And I mean, she was just a lovely person, and I'm going to miss her. So I appreciate y'all setting this up, and it was very nice to see everybody. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to say anything or share anything? I had planned to play a song and then wrap up, but we have time to listen to anyone else who would like to speak. We have gone a little long, but I think we're all getting a lot out of this. So is there anyone else that would like to?
Cass, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh. Hey, this is Rashane.
Hey, Rashane.
I'll keep it brief. Had a great relationship with Terry coming in through Metametrics, and had the little athletic background, knew a little bit about nutrition, was coming from the farmer world, and really I used to wear out the medical education department, Christy and Dr. Evan, Dr. Lord, asking questions, or even you, Cass, asking questions all the time about nutrition and what it can do for my body, and then also get into the mindset of the doctors, understanding, a lot of the stuff they had not seen since school. And so, I enjoyed seeing Terry, every day coming in for work. I'd always catch her in the mornings, and we'll talk a little bit about things that I was seeing, because she really helped me understand the mindset of the doctors. But we would talk about everything from nutrition to Terry was a fighter, and she always would speak up for what she believed in. So we would talk about politics, we would talk about the healthcare system, and we would even try to come up with ways of fixing stuff. And we used to joke all the time, like, how in the world certain people get in these positions, and we can come up with ideas here in the next 10 minutes and fix a lot of these issues that's going on in the world. So, she gave great hugs, and that smile, that vibrant smile. I mean, we talked about everything. I'm definitely going to miss her. Even to this day, we still would do texts about nutrition or different questions I would ask about my kids and other kids' nutrition. She would give me ideas, because it was because of her I really realized I wish I had teachers like her when I was younger, because I didn't have good science teachers growing up, and I kind of would struggle with that. And then coming in and getting in that Metametrics environment, you guys were able to break it down in layman's terms to me, and it really helped my development over the years, even to my career now. So I would definitely miss her. Everything, 90% of what I've learned about nutrition really came from the Metametrics family and from Terry. I'm definitely going to miss our lunches and miss our talks about just stuff. So she would be greatly missed. So I just want to say thanks. Love you, Terry.
Thank you. I'm Prashan. I'm Andy and Carolyn's son, and I remember Terry from when she first came in, and I was a little boy running around the lab and the office and just having a great old time, not having to worry about any of that stuff my parents or any of those people at the lab were busy with and stressed out about. But I remember Terry coming in and just how pretty she was, and she would be so sweet to us little boys, Augie and me, my little brother. And I had like a little boy crush on her because I thought she was so pretty and so radiant. And as I got older, I would walk by her office and wave, and she'd give me hugs. And she was just a really beautiful, special person. And I pray for her being at peace. And I'm glad I got to know her, and she was a lovely woman. So thanks for letting me share. And I'll pass it on. Thank you.
I have one more thing to share. When I was looking at poems and contemplating on death and dying, I found Mary Oliver is one of my favorite poets. And while I won't read the whole thing, I want to just share this part with you because I feel like Terry would say this too. When Death Comes is the poem. And the part I'll read to you. When it's over, I want to say all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I've made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world.
Amen.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to say something before we play a song and conclude? I do want to mention sympathy cards can be sent to Larry. They might also welcome meals. I didn't really know if it was okay to put his address on here, but you could contact me or Fernessa or Cliff if you'd like to reach out to Terry's partner. Also, Terry really loved the Nature Conservancy, so if you'd like to make a donation in her honor, she would love that, I'm sure, as well as all of nature would love that. Okay, so I would like to, let's see, I was going to share a song, and I hope you guys don't get mad at me because this could definitely be a major tearjerker. This is, I'm streaming from her Facebook page. Some of you may have seen it already. It's a song that she wrote called Legacy, very fitting, with her band. And, I didn't get to see a lot of her music. And so this is like a whole huge side of her that I didn't see a lot of. And when I saw it yesterday, I just cried like a baby. It's so gorgeous. And I'm going to share it with everyone, and then maybe we can say goodbye. Okay, so I'll play this now. Hopefully it'll come through. Let's see. I'm not hearing it on my end. Let me try.
I have it as well.
Were we going to say, Vanessa?
I have that recording if you can't find it.
Okay, let me see if it'll play off Facebook, but if you'll cue yours up just in case.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm not getting any sound on my computer.
Okay, let me.
I'm probably doing something that is my own fault.
I don't have it. I have it on a CD, and I don't have it on my computer, on this computer.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I don't understand why it would. Eve, did you bump into any trouble when you were trying to share those YouTube videos?
Let me see if I can share it, because I know where it is on Facebook. I can look it up on Facebook.
Okay.
See.
Oh, and I put my email in the chat if anybody wants to reach out to me or needs information.
Thank you. Everyone, thank you so much. This has been so wonderful and healing and helpful, and wonderful to see everybody. And it's so neat to hear all these stories. And I know that others, when they listen to this, will really appreciate it too. So.
Yeah. Is it playing?
Can you? I hear it, Eve. Can you share your screen?
It says I'm sharing.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just. Let me stop sharing mine. It is. When the rain falls down, and my light goes down, I'll be
It's gotta be love. Oh,
That's it, guys. Gorgeous, gorgeous woman inside and out.
Thank you so much, Cass, for setting this up.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was
Great to see everybody. It's been so long, too long.
So great.
Love you all.
Yeah, love everyone.
Yourselves.
Thanks everyone so much.
Yeah.
Everyone.
If there's any
Take care.
arrangements that are made, email me and I'll keep you posted on whatever arrangements are being made for, a service or, wishes, whatever.
Vanessa, can you spell your email too?
Sure. It's my first name, last initial, FRENESAH @gmail.
Great. Okay. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Love you all.
I love you all.
Thanks, folks. Good to see y'all.
Thank
All right.
Bye.
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 All right.
Cass.
Bye.
Thank you, Cass. I love you.
Thank you. Love you guys too. Thanks everyone. We love you, Terry. We'll miss you.